Yeah, hey guys. First of all, thank you for having me. It's really glad to be here in Istanbul to present my thoughts and my view on the insurtech trends in industry. First of all, who is this guy on stage? My name is Timo. Right now I'm running a company called Insureabout. I will pitch later. But my background is I worked for a couple of fintech, insurtech startups. I worked for some corporates, for a big insurer called Helvetia, and also for some venture capital firms. That's why I can give you a broad overview how I see the market. And if you have questions, especially for the German market, I can be one of the experts. If you guys twittering, use my hashtag InsurTechForum, and I guarantee you I'll retweet it. Okay, let's jump in. First of all, the challenge today we all facing is, first of all, of course, the digitalization. Secondly, all insurance companies, also all insurtechs have to deal with regulations. And the third, and from my perspective, the most important thing is customer needs. The whole behavior is changing through digitalization, and we have to be aware of that. If you look more into detail, what really the mega trend is, it's more or less smartphones and mobile phones. And if you look at the pure numbers, it's pretty massive what's coming up. 20 billion people using smartphones worldwide. 200 billion apps in the App Store, downloads, sorry. More or less everyone is using social media. 90% is using a smartphone in the European Union, and a couple of other things. Beside the trend of people using smartphones, using technology, we also see that, for example, bank branches are disappear. That's when you look at the trend, global digitalization. On the other hand, bank branches, insurance agents, they disappear. And if you look into the future of insurance, more or less everyone talks about the insurer. They have to change. They have to do something different. But if you look what the insurers really have, they have the customers and they have a brand. A lot of people say, okay, I need protection from a brand I know. The second player, most people miss, Nick mentioned these guys, are the tech companies. More or less everyone is getting involved into insurance somehow. Google is looking heavily on the insurance space. Amazon announced couple of things, and also I'm pretty sure Facebook will look into this market. And the big question is why? Because they have the data, and also they have technology to bring products to the customers. If you guys think about the future of insurance, please don't forget the tech companies who can easily enter these markets, and because they have the data and the touch point. Last but not least, of course, the insurtechs, what they have is flexibility. They can really change their product. They can really change everything, especially when they look at the customers. They can really be flexible. And of course, more or less every startup out there using technology. In terms of when you look at the value chain, like I said, you have the incumbents, you have the insurers out there, and you have of course the startups or maybe a little bit tech companies. And when you look a little bit more detailed, you see that more or less every insurance company is coming from a back end, from a product perspective. In big towers, sitting managers say, okay, this is a product what I think customer buy, what they need. But most of the time, insurance companies miss what customers really, really want because they're not using data. And then they develop a product, let's say for 3 to 6 months or up to a year. Then they announce the product, they sell it, and then they realize, shit, nobody wants this product. I had yesterday a great conversation with a good friend of mine about that. And when you look at like I said, insurers, they have the client relation. If you look at startups, what they do is they look more or less only what a customer needs. They're coming just from the customer. Most of the time, they're not coming from the back end, and they really try to fix one customer problem. And that's more or less the reason why startups are out there and why are they successful. But what we see right now is that more or less every insurance company become more flexible. You see it in the middle, that the back end is still important, but the processes are getting more and more digital, and also the front end becomes more and more important for insurers. And also you see it, especially to larger insurtechs and startups, they also working on a new back end, they're working also on processes. And that's why, from my perspective, these guys are meeting up in the middle more or less right now. A front office, also marketing, one of the biggest challenges and opportunities are social media. If you look at traditional insurers, they cannot go to Tinder. They cannot, or they don't want to do it. They don't want to see Allianz logo or Generali logo on Tinder, but insurtechs can, because they go to the places where the customers are. Next thing is underwriting. Big discussion is use big data to make better and new policies. Big challenge and big opportunity. Also policy administration is driven right now by new technologies. Yeah. And last but not least, one of the biggest things right now in the insurance space is claim management with machine learning and AI. But let's go back to the customer. If you ask customers, also if you ask yourself, are you really happy with your insurer? More or less everyone or most people say, I'm not happy. Yeah. But if you ask yourself or if you ask everyone else, when you're not happy, come on, it's easy, switch your insurer. More or less everyone said, no, I'm too lazy, I don't care. It's not so important, especially with easy products, household insurance, for example. Also myself, I'm working in this industry, I'm not happy with my product, but I'm too lazy to switch from a traditional one to maybe to a digital insurer. I'm too lazy. And also if you ask the same people, what are you really looking for? More or less most people say they're looking for digital experience. Also, there's coming up a big wave that people, if they change, they want to change to a digital player. Right now, I want to share a little bit a number that also demonstrate that a big wave is coming. In 2017, I have to update this number, more than 27 billion US dollars raised by fintech and insurtech players. Last couple of weeks, we had big announcement in the industry. In Germany, WeFox Group raised more than 120 million US dollars, and also Friday, an insurtech raised more than 100 million. We will see that a lot of money is going in, and the fight for the future is becoming more and more challenging for established players. One of the things I want to share with you is Koya, also a German-based insurtech. They raised a lot of money also from guys like Peter Thiel, and they have a license. I think they get the license in 6 to 9 months. I'm not sure how fast it was, but it was pretty impressive how fast they get it. And that's what we're facing now. And the next company is WeFox Group. They raised 125 million 2 weeks ago. And what they do is pretty smart. They started with an app. They started with integrated offline IFAs, as sales agents. And the next step is to develop their own product. If you look at the value chain, they came from the, let's say, sales perspective, and right now they have their own product, and that's not the end. Yeah, the end of it. Yeah. Okay. Right now, I want to share the things what I see right now. What's coming up? First of all, it's corporations, because like I mentioned. You have digital players who focus on, let's say, one piece of the value chain most of the time on the customer, and you have the corporates. And in my perspective, we see a big wave of corporations that both, let's say, merge in a way. Yeah. The second thing is, it's really important, is new types of products. For example, everyone knows that this e-scooter thing's coming up, maybe to ensure that cybersecurity is a big thing. Also, on-demand insurance. Technology gives us the opportunity that we can protect things, that we can protect new stuff, new things. And that's especially for both companies, also for both types, insurers and insurtech, a big opportunity to find new product niches without competition. Last but not least, also we are here in Istanbul, where it's the country between Asia and Europe, and maybe you guys can participate from this, let's say, movement. We will see a lot of things coming from the Asian market. If you, I visited a meeting with Alibaba 2 weeks ago. It's pretty impressive what they built, and it's pretty impressive that they coming from more or less a pure digital, data-driven perspective and deliver products to customers. Of course, it's e-commerce right now, but they easily can sell a customized insurance product to their customers. For me, as a European, and it's really interesting what, let's say, the Asian market, Alibaba, Ping An, and all of these guys are developing. And I'm pretty sure that maybe they come here to Turkey because it's a gateway between Europe and Asia, and last but not least also to Europe and Germany, because they're coming. Yeah, they're more or less 100% digital. They're not coming from this old-fashioned offline sales world. They're coming from a digital world, and that's one of the key trends I see right now. I mentioned a little bit that we have online players, online competitors, and we have traditional players. My world is that we see that the hybrid model will run the future, that the hybrid model will the most successful one. It makes no sense to stay 100% online and not 100% offline. The winners, because it's not a winner takes it all market, will be offer both worlds, offline and online. And I want to share also some numbers. 45% of all sales agents will disappear, and also, let's say, 20 to 40% of all bank branches. If you look at the startups who's coming up, I want to give you also a clear view on that. On all startups we see right now, 90% of these startups will disappear. Why? Lack of profitability. They make no money. They're running out of money. Or they got acquired from, let's say, another insurtech, another startup, or from a big offline competitor. If you're facing, let's say, 10 startups today or tomorrow or in the next week, be aware that 9 startups will die, will disappear in the next years. But, it's gone the big but, 10% of these startups you're meeting up these days will stay, and these companies can change a sector fundamentally. For example, Nick mentioned Revolut. They're on the way to change the whole banking sector. Lemonade, they're also on the way to change the industry sector. It's easy to say, oh yeah, every startup is successful. It's also to say, oh, I don't care what startups do, but please aware of these numbers. 10% can change the whole market, and 90% will die. When I'm showing you my last slide, my personal outlook, what I'm really curious about, what is, first of all, my personal outlook for the whole insurance industry. I'm waiting for blockchain use cases. I know it's a buzzword, and we saw this whole crypto hype last year, but when I'm talking about blockchain, it's more or less about smart contracts. It's about that I can buy an insurance product, and if there's a claim, I'm getting directly my refund, because the smart contract allows me to say, yes, here's a legitimate claim, and the payout is direct. But the problem here is that we're all waiting for a blockchain ecosystem, and we have a worldwide conglomerate of different insurers and reinsurers that are working on solutions, and I'm really waiting to see these use cases this year or next year. The next thing I'm a little bit curious about is the whole chatbot and AI opportunity because, as you know, insurance it's more or less a product. People want to interact with someone, and it makes sense that insurers and insurtechs use chatbots to bring down costs and only talk to people who really it's important. They have a special need, but at the end, most questions people have, you can use a chatbot. And also the AI I mentioned a little bit. The AI situation is really important in terms of claim management. Someone claims something, and if technology gives us the opportunity that to say yes, is a legitimate claim or not. That's really the second thing I'm really looking forward to in 2019. The next thing I also mentioned a bit is digital insurers. It's more or less, they are still there, but why it's on number 3 and why I want to talk about it is that I'm waiting to see success stories. It's easy to have this vision, okay, oh yeah, I want to change the industry fundamentally, but it's difficult to prove that you can really do it. That's why I'm waiting here a little bit more on news, how much customers they acquired, or other, let's say, important KPIs instead of just a vision pitch. Yeah. It's not the next thing is a little bit, it's fintech and insurtech stuff. It's what I'm always looking at is the unbanked people worldwide. I'm not sure how much the rate of unbanked people here in Turkey is, but unbanked people, it's a great opportunity for everyone because more or less every unbanked person has a smartphone right now. If you look at Africa, if you look at emerging markets, frontier markets, and also what we see from Asia is that these people, you can provide tech solutions. They don't need a branch. They don't need a sales guy. They have a phone. And if you can provide them easy finance and insurtech solutions, you can really make a great business model out of it. Last but not least, I'm also very curious about new business model and surprises. Maybe totally new types of insurance product, totally new ideas. I'm not really looking also into the gaming industry and maybe to provide that. That's personally I really like. Thank you guys. Later on I will pitch also my product. Please wait for that. If you have questions, I'm around the whole day. Here's my email address and telephone number. Just email me, add me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and yeah, let's chat. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Timo.